Let me ask you a question. Do you trust strangers? Most people would say no. We are taught from childhood not to trust people we don't know. But something strange happens every single day. We live our lives trusting complete strangers. Think about the coffee you drank this morning. You don't know the barista. You don't know the farmer who grew the beans. You don't know the people who shipped those beans across oceans and continents. And yet you drink the coffee without hesitation. Why? This question may sound simple, but it reveals something extraordinary about human beings. In the natural world, cooperation has limits. Chimpanzees cooperate. Wolves cooperate. But their cooperation works only inside small groups, usually a few dozen individuals, at most around 100. Why? Because cooperation requires trust, and trust usually requires knowing the other individual personally. If animals don't know each other, cooperation breaks down. That's why their societies cannot grow very large. But humans are different. Humans cooperate with millions of individuals, sometimes even billions. Look at the clothes you are wearing. The cotton may have been grown in one country, the thread spun in another, the fabric produced in a factory on the other side of the world. Then it was shipped, stored, sold, and eventually ended up in your closet. Thousands of people were involved. You have never met any of them, and yet you rely on their work completely. In the natural world, this is almost impossible. So why is it possible for humans? Many people assume that humans are simply more cooperative or more moral, but history tells a different story. Humans have fought wars, betrayed each other, and built systems of conflict and domination. So cooperation alone cannot explain it. The real reason is something else. Humans do not cooperate because they trust each other. Humans cooperate because they trust systems. Think about a bank. When you deposit money in a bank, you are not trusting the individual employee. You probably don't know them. What you trust is the banking system, the rules, the institutions, the structure that stands behind that interaction. The same thing is true for laws. Most people don't personally know judges or legislators or the people who wrote those laws, and yet society functions because people trust the legal system. In other words, human societies are not built primarily on personal trust. They are built on trust in systems. We trust invisible structures that organize our cooperation. Banks, markets, governments, legal systems, shared rules that millions of people agree to follow. Because these systems exist, we can cooperate with strangers. We can trade with strangers. We can travel across the world and rely on strangers. Without these systems, modern civilization would collapse almost instantly. But this raises a deeper question. If our societies depend on these invisible systems, how stable are they? Trust cannot be seen. You cannot touch it, and yet entire civilizations stand on top of it. History shows something important. When trust in a system collapses, the society built on that system often collapses with it. So the real question is not just how humans cooperate. The real question is this: could that trust one day suddenly disappear? Humans can cooperate even without knowing each other, but that cooperation stands on a single condition. We all believe in the same system. And that raises a final question: how long can that belief really last?